funded. Fully funded. Eternia, the Eternia playset, is a thing. It is real. It is funded. And people will finally have a legit chance to own it. This is amazing. Literally one of the most amazing things I have ever seen in my life in terms of toys. Let's check this out. I'm not kidding when I say this. I am not kidding in the least when I say this is a huge deal. This is Eternia. And as far as I'm concerned, from what I'm looking at right here, it's not only a chance to own Eternia, it's a chance to own it better than it was originally. Opinions are subjective. Maybe you think that the original Eternia was better, but look, this is bigger. It's more vibrant. I can see some of the details better. And it's already guaranteed to have a higher production run than the original. The original only produced 4,000 Eternias. And from what I understand, keep in mind, I don't have all the answers, but from what I understand, that set produced 4,000, of which only 1,600 complete sets seem to exist that are still left. And that's about it. And the chance that you could piece one together by literally cannibalizing the other sets that are left to kind of create a full set. And then also sometimes you can't really do that either. You have to literally I saw a guy online that all he does is he 3D prints those gargoyles and sells them for like $40 a piece. This is a huge deal to have a chance to own this thing. Look at this thing. This thing is crazy. It is fully funded as of right now. This video, blah, blah, blah. This video right now is being filmed. We are sitting at 5,591 backers. That is, holy crap, that is crazy. We are almost at 6,000. We are that close. We only had to hit 5,000 to get the thing made. Right now, they're going to make at least 100% without a doubt. There are 22 days left. We will without a doubt see 5,600 Eternias on the market. Now, I get the idea that some people are going to hold on to these things for a long time, if not forever. I am one of them. I did it. I made the decision. I backed the project. I had to make some sells. I had to play real careful to do it, but I backed the project, and I have one coming to me in 2024. And stop and think about that, guys. That is unreal. This is literally the holy grail of Motu. And we're at tier 1. So regardless of any opinions, people saying that it was too expensive, yada yada. Look, I can agree with certain things, and we're going to talk a little bit about this. But look, guys, it's backed. It's real. It's a thing. They are going to make this, and as far as I am concerned, I'm not kidding. It is better. I'm looking at it right now. I'm telling you, from the pictures that I see, from the decor and things that I see on here, this is better than the original. That color is sharp. Look at that skeleton. Look at that skull right there. That's sharp. And the hand that's coming up and all these chains, these look like better chains than what I've seen on some of the originals. This is impressive. This is crazy impressive. I love these pegs that are all over it too. That's a minor thing, but look, that's cool because those pegs are going to allow for us to put characters all over this thing. This is going to be a display piece that you will literally build everything that you collect around. I mean, you will. Why wouldn't you? This is crazy. I'm telling you. This is unbelievable. And this right here, him, yes, 100%. That is super good. That is so good. And because I got in here yesterday, I got him. I got him. He's one of the ones that I've got coming. That's going to be fantastic. Who knows if we actually get to the next tier. If we get to the next tier, we get... A lot of people are starting to call this guy Modi. You know what? I'm on board for that. Modi would be cool. And you only need 8,000. There's 22 days left. It looks like by the time we hit maybe even tomorrow at the rate that these things are going. And I think what's happening here is people are trying to get Grayskull. Because we've hit the number and it is climbing, and it is climbing rapid, and I think people are making that last minute decision. Because if you get in early, if you get in right now, you get Grayskull. And, you know, say what you will, and maybe you're of a different opinion, and that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, that's fine. But look, this Grayskull, for me, personally, and I think a lot of people actually prefer this Grayskull. They like this Grayskull. They do. I think that this is one of those times when the remake or remaster of a character beat out the classic, because the classic was just big He-Man. He didn't really have his own thing. It was just big He-Man. And while that works for some characters, personally, I like to see things change. I don't necessarily want repeat designs over and over and over again. I think it was cool that they kind of fleshed this guy out and made him his own thing. Personally, in Revelation, I think he looks better than he did in the 2000X series. I just do. I just think he looks better. Everything about him was gripping. It caught my attention immediately. Just bam, there he is. I was like, holy crap, that's Grayskull now? And it blew me away. I love that figure. I love his design in Revelation. And this figure that they're putting out right here, I've already seen some people that are like, I'm selling mine. I don't care. I just want Eternia. That's fine. That's fine. That means that more people that want him, even if they don't get the set on time, will have a chance to get him, because he'll be out there. That's fine. This thing still has an awful lot of momentum, personally. It backed today, and it's already sitting at 5,591. And I'll bet you, if I was to push the refresh button right now, that's probably changed. I'm going to do it. I'm going to push the refresh button. 95. Just went up to 95. So 5,595. It is, this project is crazy. I mean, it's crazy to think that this is a thing at all. And already we are nearing the 6,000. And already that will be 2,000 more units than were originally available. And more than that, because like I said, 4,000 units were created. Only about 1,600 of those units are actually, like, from the numbers I've seen, only about 1,600 of them could you actually get complete. That's not a lot. That's a very low number. That made this an absolute holy grail of the collector's market. You had to spend stupid money, upward of $4,000, if not more, depending on where you found your parts and what condition you found your parts in. And even then, sometimes you had to restore on top of that because you got a tower and it was super faded, or the paint was bad or whatever, or it had very much been played with. And you get them with broken tabs, and the monorails and everything often had to be refurbished, and the chains. I've seen the chains, just the chains. I've seen people repurpose chains from other things, and then I've seen people that are like, I have the original chains, mine has the chains. Bam, right there. You're looking at stupid money. You're looking at stupid money to get the two towers with the chains. I've seen it go for like $1,000. Easily. It's unreal. It's unreal what this thing could cost. And I've noticed that since this has been announced, and now there's about to be a whole lot more of these on the market, they may even hit the number that, from what I understand, they originally wanted. Because from what I understand, and keep in mind, very new to all this, but from what I've heard, originally they wanted to make 10,000 of these. The goal was to make 10,000 of them, and then they'd start cutting good profit on these things. But they never did. They only produced 4,000. And I also understand, or rather I've heard, and I'm willing to take the opinions and say that it makes a lot of sense, they knew going into this that they were probably not going to sell this. The idea was to put it on just like the USS Flag. The idea was to put it in the store, draw your eyes to it. You go down the toy aisle and you go, what is that? That is crazy. And then you look at it and you pick it up and it's this big giant toy and it's unbelievable. And it was priced, even for its time, it was priced pretty high. And then you'd go, this is crazy. And then, of course, you know you can't get that. You're a kid or whatever. You can't get that, but that's so cool. Maybe Christmas. Yeah, you better cross your fingers real hard, because let me tell you, it was not often at that time in 85 that your parents were going to spend $100 on a single. You're talking about a time when a Big Mac meal was $2.99 supersized, and your parents, you think they're going to drop like literally $100? Because some stores had them for like $120, some stores had them for as low as like $89. I saw like a magazine thing one time where it was like an old, just a page from an old thing, and they had it set at like $98. And oh my gosh, like at the time, really? Like $98? That was a lot of money, okay? I mean, realistically, you're talking about 1985, and just to do it, you know what? Just to do it, let's see. How much was $100 in 1985? The equivalent idea of that puts that purchasing power at 275.84 today. So easily like 180% more. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. And now you've got a chance at it. You've got a legit chance at owning it. This is it. This is your legit chance at having it in your hands. And that's unreal. And it is backed, and they are making it. And there's a chance that this one could actually do the 10,000 units. You don't want to get too excited. Be happy that you got it at all. That's for damn sure. It's coming. It's on the way. And it looks like, personally, with 22 days left and the way people are jumping on board, we could see the second tier. We could get Modi. But I'm curious. I'm curious to see what's going to happen tomorrow, because I think it's through today that you can get Grayskull. Maybe if you order tomorrow, because I thought it said on the site something about like if you order before 10/19, but maybe that's 10/19, like you have the 19th to order, or maybe it's you order today or you miss out. I'm not sure which one that is, honestly, and I'm not going to look it up right now, but it's one of those two. So people are jumping on board, I think, for the early bird, trying to get the Grayskull. And then I think we might see a little bit of dip in activity after that. It might slow down. And then I'm curious how much these 22 days are going to add to it. And I'll, of course, keep my eye on it, especially now because I got one. So, yeah, this is crazy. This is absolute insanity. I don't think... I mean, this is the equivalent. It really is. This would be the equivalent of if G.I. Joe tomorrow said, hey, we're going to do another USS Flag. I mean, that's what it is. This was the biggest project in Motu. It was the absolute end-all, be-all centerpiece of the entire collection that nobody got. Just like the USS Flag. If you got a flag, it was literally so big it had to like sit under your bed when you weren't playing with it. And of course, once you had it, I say that like you actually had a chance at having it. Very few people had a chance at actually owning the USS Flag. But say you actually got one, you build your entire collection around it. Of course you do. As soon as you get it, you know what the next thing you're asking your parents for? A jet. Some pilots. Another jet. maybe a helicopter to sit on the side, a couple of those subs, maybe a couple boats to go with it. Now, yeah, we're getting ridiculous, but say that's what you collect. The only thing you like is G.I. Joe. That's all you bought. All the time. Only thing your parents ever got you. And every Christmas you said, I need Joes. From the time you were 5 years old to the time you were, who knows, 13 maybe? Is that right? Getting out of toys? I actually wouldn't know because I kind of got out of toys around 12. But that's very dependent because when I started getting out of toys, I got out of the play function of toys, and then I started repurposing them for other things. I used them for like D&D campaigns and to like tell stories and things like that, and I used them for my artwork where I would pose them and get them into something, and then I would draw and things like that. So they still had a legit purpose for me for a very long time. Until I was about maybe 17, and then I just started like selling all of them. I just got rid of almost everything. And then I didn't really get back in to like collecting until I was living on my own, probably around like 22, somewhere in there. And then I was like, I'm going to get some Spider-Man figures, and it all just kind of came back, and this is where it is now. But because of that, like I held on to some of my toys for quite a long time. But I remember being about done playing with them when I was like 13. I don't remember playing with them anymore. I remember like using them for stuff. I crafted a card game so that I had like a fighting game. And it was very much like a D&D quick battle type of thing where you had like 3 cards that were your life, and then you'd roll the dice, and then that would like roll for initiative, and that would like basically be we were creating our own frame rates. So you'd roll and be like, all right, I got the higher, I'm on the attack, you're on the defense. So then your 3 cards were trying to defend, and then it was kind of like playing war, but there were a lot of intricate rules here and there that we had to create as we played for like blocking, countering, things of that nature. So all kinds of things played into it over time. But the point of the matter was, they still had meaning for me longer than I think most other people because I created those games. We played for quite a while. And then it was a different aspect though because we were playing in a competitive game that had like rules. We weren't like pretending or playing guys or whatever you call it. It was a very different idea. But it did keep them around longer than I know other people had toys. Because sometimes, like a couple of my friends that didn't play the game or whatever, they'd come over and like if any of them were out, like we had like this table in the basement where we'd set them up. And we'd set up like battlefields and whatnot. Then you kind of roll and do the cards and have like battles and things like that. And then somebody would come over that didn't play or whatever, and we just pick them all up and throw them in this box. We had like a dresser thing where we put them all, and then we just go play pool or something like that. Because we weren't really playing in that way. We were playing kind of an elaborate D&D-esque game with them from time to time. But then, of course, we moved into things like Hero Clicks and things like that. Long story short, I don't know when people normally get out of toys, but I'm assuming 13 is pretty much a guaranteed age to be out of them. I think so. So in the scenario that I was crafting just now, you would have to start asking for stuff at 5 all the way up to 13. It would be only Joe's because, of course, if you have that playset, you're going to use it. Nobody else has it. And I'm sure if you'd have had this, it would have kept you using this, even if you repurposed it for other things like Joe's or whatever. But that's what I'm getting at, is this is not a small thing by a long shot. This is one of the absolute ultimate playsets, if not the ultimate playset of the 80s. I don't know that anything else even comes close. Like, what are you going to reference? The Batcave? Please. The Batcave that was connected to the Bruce Wayne mansion that they redid like 9 times or something like that, just kept slapping different coats of paint on it? Yeah, no, not even close. Not even close. This has that beat by leaps and bounds. And what's crazy about it is that Castle Grayskull had those beat before that. So you got Castle Grayskull that was already pretty much the absolute sought-after playset of its time, and then you go directly from that. Like, There were other playsets that were cool, but this thing had to have been an absolute holy grail of playsets in general. And now then it literally just becomes the holy grail of Motu collecting. And now here it is for anybody to have. This Origins thing is huge. I mean, it's huge. This is one of the coolest, most elaborate, crazy toy lines I have ever seen in my life. It is unbelievable. And they just won't stop. Like, now we got other things that are coming out too, because you've got like, what is it? Frog, there's that frog guy coming out. Oh man, I can't remember what he's called. Frog, I cannot remember. Frogmonger. And he's one of the things from the prison sticker, the grate that's at the bottom of Castle Grayskull that all the monsters are trying to get out of. And if they've already shown him, and I've seen his background art, and it looks like he's popping out of the grate with a bunch of other guys, well, then we pretty much guarantee that we're going to see all those, because we're already getting a skeleton guy. This is crazy. And yes, I backed it. I'm getting one. I will, of course, be on here a long time from now, showing it off. But hey, guys, if you're still on the fence, I'm telling you, this thing is huge. And you might argue, even still, that 600 is too much. It's too much. And you know what? You're right to think that. It is a lot of money. But there are arguments to be made both for and against it. And in the end, the person that you have to justify to is you. If all your stuff is taken care of and you have the money and you want to part with it, let's be honest about something. It's not going to change that you buy this and now all of a sudden all of Motu and Mattel's going to get this idea that they can just spring up and get all this money or whatever. There's no way that this playset is making them millions of dollars. It's not. I wouldn't be surprised if they're barely breaking even. With the way plastic is costing and the way things and gasoline and everything like that and production, transportation and everything else on top of it, with all the rising costs of toy production in general, I'll bet you that this price, the more I've looked at it, the more I've sat around, the more I've kind of analyzed, I don't think this was necessarily overpriced. In fact, I would argue that with the amount of deco and everything and the very low production, because we're not talking like, they're not producing like 180,000 units or something like that they're going to send out. This isn't a minimum quantity order that's going to go retail all across the world, which means that every single one of these that they produce, the more they produce, the less it costs them, but that would mean the less it would end up costing us. But that's not what's happening here. This is a very low production run. And if you've ever stopped and thought about something and said, man, yeah, this is an actual collector's item. It is going to be very limited. Very limited. It is going to come out, and that's going to be it. And if history has shown us, once this happens, it will not be happening again. Not for a long, long time, if ever. Let's be honest about who all is into Motu. People that are a little older than me, in all honesty. I'm 38. Most people that are like really into Motu are normally in their 40s. Let's just be honest about it. So let's really take this into account now and say that in 85 they produced this thing, and then we didn't see it again until 2022, and it won't even come out till 2024. If we have to wait that long again, most of us will not be into Motu. In fact, some of us will be dead. It's just real. This is your chance. It could be the only chance you ever have. I don't think this is overpriced. I think it's expensive. I think you need to be real about what you're about to do, and I think you need to take care of your stuff first. But if you can part with some of the collection that you can get back at a later time, that's what I did. I basically broke off a little over $300 worth of my collection and dipped it and said, hey, if I ever need it back, they're retail. They're somewhere. Somewhere out there on Amazon or on eBay, I can get them back at a later time if I'm absolutely desperately in need of said items. But as it stands, I'm not going to miss it. Not for what I've got replacing it. This is amazing. I am excited. This is cool. And I think that it's worth it. Maybe you think differently, and there's no reason, or rather, sorry, maybe you think differently, and I can honestly respect that because I was on the fence all the way up until last night. So I get where your worry comes from because I had the same thing, but the more I run this around in my head, I think I made the right choice, and I think I'm going to be more than happy with the results. Eternia, the Three Towers, back on the market. This is not the market, back in people's hands. This is just amazing. I'm really curious to see if we get to Modi. I'm crossing my fingers for Modi. That guy looks awesome. I want him. We'll see. Later.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.